sound check.
Change, we turn uncertainty into something strange. With passion and grit, we rise above, empowered by the future we're dreaming of. We're navigating the unknown, where innovations grow. In every step we find a way, building tomorrow day by day. We don't follow, we lead the show. We're navigating the unknown. We are known. You see a light, pushing forward into the fight. Every challenge becomes a chance to build, to grow, to take a stance. We're navigating the unknown. We're navigating the unknown. Navigating the unknown. Navigating the unknown.
In the symphony of life, change is the only constant, weaving a tapestry of evolving realities. We stand at the forefront, challenging the impossible, connecting you to a world of passion, and binding you to your own happiness. We are the architects of transformative change, and our medium is something fundamental. Food, more than sustenance, is an emotion, a promise for better nutrition. From humble beginnings with simple grains to leading sustainable agriculture practices, we've evolved, matching the relentless pace of progress. Our commitment shines through to state-of-the-art factories producing 190 plus high-quality products under our flagship brands Sunrich Foods and Good Goodies. Embark on this journey with Unity Foods, where Pakistan's first pizza mill with Swiss technology transforms every grain into the purest flour, fortified with essential nutrients. Sunrich products are more than commodities, they are a commitment to a healthier life. Our fiber-fed flour redefines bread and gut health with twice the fiber content. Our range, including all-purpose flour, semolina, and pizza flour, stands as a testament to excellence. Sunrich Foods elevates rice with grains 2 to 3 times longer, celebrated for their aroma. Good Goodies Factory creates joyous snacks enriched with energies. Sunridge Bakery and Grocery Stores offers a holistic food experience with bakery items, groceries, and cakes, all handcrafted using Sunridge products. Our edible oil refinery produces premium oils and banaspati fortified with essential nutrients. Brands like Dastak, Ehtimam and Zoki blend omega-3 and 6 and vitamins A, D and E, catering to global customers. Our journey doesn't stop there. We transform crushed seeds into high-quality animal feed, completing our integrated value chain. As we strive towards net zero by 2050, we remain committed to our promise for better nutrition. Unity Foods, food for life.
global world leaders in global world.
Standing at the edge where the future's unclear, chasing dreams through the chaos, pushing past the fear. A vision in our hearts and courage in our hands. We carve a path where no one's ever made a stand. We're navigating the unknown, where innovations grow. In every step we find a way, building tomorrow day by day. We don't follow, we lead the show. We're navigating the unknown. Through every industry, through every change, we turn uncertainty into something strange. With passion and grit, we rise above, empowered by the future we're dreaming of. We're navigating the unknown, where innovations grow. In every step we find a way, building tomorrow day by day. We don't follow, we lead the show. We're navigating the unknown. We unknown, we see a light, pushing forward into the fight. Every challenge becomes a chance to build, to grow, to take a stance. Navigating the unknown. We're navigating the unknown.
So, what? They're all going to sit there and speak into the group.
They will sit there and they will go to the podium as and when they're called.
Okay.
Yes, so we're already asking them to sit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Navigating the unknown. Navigating the unknown.
Can get people to get seated and we can
So,
start.
you like to
Huh? बोल तो गई है बिस्माती.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to kick off the afternoon session. Please settle into your seats, calm yourselves down. I hope you had a great lunch and you're feeling rested and fed and nourished and ready for what's going to be an exciting afternoon session. So please take your seats. We'll begin in a couple of minutes. He wants me to sit there as well.
Then we
constant, weaving a tapestry of evolving realities. We stand at the forefront, challenging the impossible, connecting you to a world of passion and binding you to your own happiness. We are the architects.
Okay. Good afternoon. You have a good lunch? Sort of.
We even see the Prime Minister, and the Secretary was there as well, so
Oh.
we did that.
So you've been dashing around. Okay, fantastic. All right, you all set? Yeah, so I need each one of you one by one. So in the meantime, we're just going to sit up here. Exactly. We're in the public eye right the way through. Oh, thank you, thank you. So, I have you down as Chowdhury.
Yes, it's okay. Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
Whatever. Yeah, Muryani is my husband's name.
Okay.
Chaudhary, my father's name.
So-
So
so-
both are nice to me, and I like them.
Since you're listening.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. I hope you are too. Please take your seats. Bring your conversations down to a slight whisper so that we can hear our speakers, and we'll kick off the panel. The afternoon session is going to be entirely devoted to the issue of climate. You've already heard a couple of the speakers today talk about the vital importance of climate, not only globally, but for Pakistan. We're going to consider multiple aspects of the climate conversation today. The first session is going to consist of a series of presentations by some of our experts covering various elements. And we'll kick off the session so far this afternoon with our opening address. Our guest today, if I can find my correct notes over here. We'll have some opening remarks from our guest today. Aisha Humaira Chowdhury is the Secretary at the Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination and will give us the opening statements. Thank you very much. Please.
So, thank you very much, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be part of this galaxy of stars. And it's obviously a privilege to be part of the 8th Leaders in Islamabad Business Summit, a platform that continues to bring together minds that matter to shape conversations that really count. I thank the organizers, Nutshell Group, and OICCI for hosting this important event on climate change and sustainability, a theme that resonates deeply with our national priorities. We are gathered here at a time when the world is navigating unprecedented climate change challenges. Economic and social transformations are happening, and climate change is no longer a distant threat. The challenges that Pakistan is currently facing includes glacier melting, monsoon variability, droughts, heat waves, and the vulnerabilities across Pakistan and beyond force us to take action now. As a country among the most vulnerable to climate change, Pakistan is a stark reminder that those who contribute least have to pay the most. And 2022 flood is a witness of that. Despite that, we believe in international collaboration, and as a responsible citizen of the world, we are actively collaborating under the Paris Agreement with global community. We are working on our nationally determined contributions and will continue to believe in multilateralism. Today's session serves as a timely reminder of the need for collective leadership, multi-sectoral partnerships, and bold policy choices. Climate action is not the sole responsibility of governments. It's a shared mandate for businesses, development partners, civil society, and youth. We need to shift from pledges to performance and from isolated interventions to integrated solutions. We need collective leadership. And in COP29 in Baku also, we demonstrated that how climate justice and equity are not just words. As global community, we have to deliver on these for advancing global goal on adaptation and delivering on the mitigation work program and just transition pathways. Developing countries, including Pakistan, emphasized the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and called upon historical emitters to meet their finance and mitigation obligations. The outcome of the global stocktake must serve as a turning point, not just to assess gaps, but to drive ambition and support where it is most needed. As we move towards COP30, these negotiations must translate into real commitments on the ground. These global processes must inform and inspire local action, and Pakistan is ready to play its part. At the Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination, we are working to strengthen institutional capacity, accelerate NDC implementation, and promote a climate-resilient development pathway. We have launched several strategic initiatives, including carbon policy guidelines, issuance of green bonds, promotion of blended finance instruments, development of a national climate finance strategy, and the rollout of Pakistan's green taxonomy. We are also establishing a green technology hub to foster innovation and low carbon solutions. We are working on a glacier protection and conservation strategy. We are very actively working with the private sector for a circular economy policy document. And another very important area is green skills. So we are working with the government institutions as well as with the private sector institutions, because there is a whole value chain where green skills are required, starting from technicians, so TEFTA education, to the high-end training needs. We need auditors who can do ESG auditing, GHG emission auditing. So today we had a very good meeting, even in the Prime Minister's presence, where we will be collaborating with international organizations for promoting these skills in Pakistan, and we hope that Pakistan would be able to bring big consulting firms to make their delivery centers in Pakistan and provide these cutting-edge services not just to companies in Pakistan, but globally across the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aisha. Laying out the policy guidelines. We'll call on our next speaker. Helen, please, if you would. Helen Brand is with ACCA and will be making the next presentation. Thank you. One round of applause, please, folks.
Well, it really is a great pleasure to be here this afternoon, and thanks for Asfar for giving me another reason to come back to Islamabad. It is always a pleasure to be here and a real honour to be part of this wonderful occasion, as I was in the inaugural session in 2017. So esteemed guests, delegates, it really is great to be able to share a few words with you on crafting a sustainable climate future, a theme we think is so well chosen. And it's especially well chosen for this audience in this location at this time for three big reasons. One, Pakistan does face unique dangers from climate change. Two, the prospects for the future are gloomy unless and until we turn the tide on climate disaster. And three, from a sunnier point of view, everyone in this room has the power to do something about it. First of all, no one here really needs any reminders about the reality of climate crisis in Pakistan. I know that there was an especially cruel emergency in 2022 when a third of the country disappeared under floodwaters. Even in an age when such tragedies are unfortunately daily features of news bulletins the world over, the scenes were shocking, and the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres described it as a monsoon on steroids. Now, it's a cruel trick of geography and history that Pakistan suffers so sorely from the deadly consequences of climate change, while itself producing less than 1% of the world's temperature-raising greenhouse gases. And to my second point, which is that climate change remains the greatest threat to a sustainable future. Overwhelmingly, it's the biggest risk any business with any ambition to thrive or even survive through to the middle of this century and beyond faces. Again, a room full of Pakistani leaders doesn't need a full seminar on this issue, but the World Bank does estimate that extreme climate-related events and environmental degradation could reduce Pakistan's GDP by 18 to 20% by 2050. But to my third point, and it's a more optimistic point, that we do have it in our power to act decisively and positively to these perils. We have it in our power to protect our businesses, our communities, and the future of our families. When we talk about environmental threats, about how we avoid despair and look forward with hope, there's a phrase we use frequently at ACCA, and it's this: no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. For ACCA and for ACCA members, this means advocating for new ways of doing business that measure success differently. It means changing the way we keep score, changing how we judge success, changing how we define value, so that the impacts on people and planet matter just as much as profit and loss. This includes how we report results. The first ever recognisable, independently audited financial report in the history of modern business was published in 1903. It recorded the results of the mighty US Steel Corporation, and it included little more than a summary of costs, sale and profit. It was designed to reassure investors that the company was providing a healthy cash return for their capital. It provided a limited template which in essence every business copied for the next century and more. But it really is no longer adequate. It doesn't meet the needs of our time. And it's why ACCA was an early champion and remains a very strong supporter of the integrated reporting movement, where organisations hold themselves accountable across a range of metrics that extend far beyond the financial to include environmental impacts, records on diversity, equity, inclusion, social contribution, and governance. But as we discuss these issues, as we contemplate wholesale change which alters the face of business for generations to come, we do this as practical people. We're realists, not dreamers. All of us owe a responsibility as leaders to so many people who rely on us to get the big decisions right, to do what is best for our organisations, for our employees, for our fellow citizens, for our business partners, and our shareholders. But there is no conflict between concern for climate and commercial consideration. And this is a point that I made at an event for business leaders in Karachi just a few days ago. And that it is important for us to recognise that sustainability and climate safety is a business question just as much as it is a moral or ethical one, although of course it's all three of those combined. In a world of climate uncertainty, as well as growing economic unfairness, supply chain disruptions and growing scarcity of essential resources and services such as water, food and healthcare, changing how we do business isn't just an option, it's not a nice to have. Respecting and promoting healthy environment is an essential quality for every business in a time when citizens, regulators and governments everywhere increasingly demand stricter standards on sustainability. So it's deeply pragmatic. And this brings me to an important point about the ways in which business leaders and professional accountants can step up and make their best contribution. Because it comes down to an issue that essentially shapes all business decisions. It's about risk. It's about how businesses protect their reputations as responsible corporate citizens so that people continue to invest in them, trade with them, work for them. And that brings me to the specific areas which go to the heart of our theme today. They are global sustainability reporting standards and closely linked to those, sustainability investment. The success or failure of internationally agreed actions on how we measure results, including environmental impacts, couldn't be more important than now. It will decide whether businesses, even our economic models, thrive or die in the years to come. At ACCA, a key part of our work in this arena is about supporting disclosure standards set by the ISSB, the International Sustainability Standards Board. These are crucial because we know that the only road to a sustainable future runs through globally accepted standards that are transparent, trusted, and supported everywhere. It's the only mechanism we have to ensure that investors and governments, regulators and consumers can find accurate, reliable, relevant information they need when deciding who to support and who to trade with. The biggest threat to a sustainable future is lack of information, misinformation and greenwashing. International standards should drive out bad actors with verified and authoritative facts and data. ACCA has supported the move towards worldwide standards on sustainability reporting for many years, and this is a major element in our advocacy work and our partnerships with governments around the world. And I'm thrilled that its idea has found its time in Pakistan and that the Securities and Exchange Commission has announced a staged adoption of ISSB standards. The only way we achieve real progress is if everyone, public, governments, investors, can gain that clear sight of how businesses and organisations are performing against metrics which are easy to understand and universal. It's the only way the best performers can earn their reward in the marketplace and how poorer performers can receive what we might call a timely corrective. It also provides reassurance for investors that their capital is supporting truly viable businesses which really do display credible long-term and sincere commitment to the values of sustainable business. I'd like to close with a few words on ACCA's most recent activities on the climate agenda, especially the calls to action contained in our report, Weathering the Storm. Regulators, notably the Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan and State Bank of Pakistan. And I know the government has introduced the country's first carbon market policy, which has been described as a significant step forward towards green Pakistan. That policy was launched at COP29 in Baku with the goal of achieving climate targets and promoting green investment. And these initiatives place Pakistan in the leadership of regional and global efforts to shape a truly sustainable business future. And of course, ACCA's members are very proud to be part of that vital cause. So I'll end by pledging ACCA's continuing support in helping Pakistan business transition to that net zero future. We're eager to play our part alongside all of you in taking actionable steps in climate conscious decision making. It is the time for bold leadership, for cooperation and accountability as we work together to craft a sustainable climate future. Thank you.
Helen, thank you very much. One phrase you mentioned, which I think is really key. There is no conflict between concern for climate and commercial considerations. It's a line that, I mean, really sums a lot of the problems that we have in the commercial world up, and I'm glad you made it. And the comparison between the accounting industry and climate change conversation is a really key one, right? And I just hope that the climate accounting people can move faster than the accounting people did. But now they've got a pathway, so they can. So, as Saqib Ahmed said earlier on of SAP, there's a difference between analyzing the problem and doing something about the problem. And I think all of our attention turns to policymakers in this regard, and we need to find out who can lead on this front. Luckily enough, our next speaker may be able to give us some pointers on that front. You're up next. Our next. The European Union has been a leader in policy making on this front, and so hopefully what they have done and their experiences will be able to point the way forward. And to tell us a bit more about that, our speaker right now is from the European Union, or is representing the European Union, Her Excellency Dr. Rina Kionka, the Ambassador to Pakistan for the EU. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Distinguished guests and dear participants. It's a privilege to be here. It's my first time at this particular forum. And I'm thrilled to see so many people in the hall who are representing private business, are interested in climate and sustainability, and that's a match made in heaven, I would say. Climate change is a reality. We have last year was the warmest year on record again, and I won't again as well list the calamities that we have been experiencing here in this country and around the globe. What I'd like to tell you today a little bit about is what the EU is doing to approach the sustainability question, and what you as private business can do, and where we see a niche, where we see a real opportunity. We are in a situation where there's a plan B. There's no plan B, actually there's a plan A and a plan B, but there's no planet A and planet B. We have one planet, and we need to deal with that now. The European Union and its 27 member states have long taken climate change seriously, starting from the Kyoto Protocol in 1997 to the Paris Agreement in 2015 and beyond. The EU has been a leader, a global leader in climate diplomacy, and by 2022 we reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 32.5% compared to 1990 levels. The structural response of the European Union to climate change and its growth strategy, in fact, is known as the European Green Deal. It sets out our ambition to transform the EU into a resource-efficient and a competitive economy with zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. So climate is really at the heart of the European Green Deal, and it includes an ambitious package of measures to reduce emissions, to invest in cutting-edge research and innovation, and to preserve the natural environment. And in short, it's about accelerating the green transition of our economies. And in fact, it's an economic growth strategy. But the EU alone cannot resolve the issue, cannot solve the climate crisis, because of course climate does not respect political borders. And so that's why we're very interested in strengthening international cooperation and promoting the role in specific of private sector. The role of the private sector, the active role, is essential to decarbonize power systems and to advance bilateral trade, investment, and innovation in line with the goals of the Paris Agreement. And therefore, the EU integrates environmental and climate change considerations in all aspects of our cooperation with partner countries, including Pakistan. So to give you an example, the EU, its member states, and the European Investment Bank, our bank, are together the biggest contributors of public climate finance to developing countries. It's 28.5 billion euro in 2022, and that has almost tripled since 2013, since a good 12 years ago. And that's about 33% of all global public finance. But public finance, public investments are not enough. It's not enough to address the challenge. Private sector climate financing is absolutely critical. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, the potential is largely untapped. Domestic private sector financing for climate accounts for only 5% in Pakistan, compared with a rather large country next door, which boasts 51%. So today, I would encourage private sector in Pakistan to step up its engagement in climate action. The government has taken some steps in developing policies to address climate change. But in fact, the private sector has the power to drive the transformative change on the ground. And here I can only echo what Helen Brandt said about how working on sustainable solutions, climate solutions, is good business. To catalyze this change, the European Commission has launched the Global Gateway, our new strategy to accelerate sustainable development by leveraging investments in digital, energy, and transport infrastructure, while also strengthening health, education, and research systems around the world. The Global Gateway stands for sustainable and trusted partnerships that develop and benefit both the people and the planet, tackling pressing global challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, health security, and the global supply chain resilience. Between 2021 and 2027, the Global Gateway aims to mobilize up to 300 billion euro in public and private investments. In effect, it's a de-risking strategy. It makes it less risky for private business to invest in climate in tricky environments. In this context, the EU is supporting the establishment of an EU-Pakistan business network, bringing together more than 300 EU businesses who are active already in Pakistan under one common umbrella, giving those companies a common European voice. We expect that this EU-Pakistan business network, which we're launching next month, 14-15 May, will evolve into a kind of formal European business organization, joining a network of already existing business organizations worldwide that counts right now about 54 members. So we hope that this business forum will turn into an annual thing and will become a way to position the EU as a partner of choice for green partnerships with Pakistan. It will showcase the EU's comparative advantage in technological green innovations, as well as its global leadership in advancing environmental standards in business. And we believe that these are important steps to accelerate the green transition, which is not a choice, but it's a must. So this is an opportunity. It's a moral opportunity, but it's a business opportunity, and let's make sure that we don't miss this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Ambassador, thank you. And thank you for bringing up the issue of finance and investment. We will be talking about that in greater depth a little later on in the 5th session. Climate finance, a critical element of making the transition to energy, clean energy. But our next speaker maybe also might talk a little bit about that, because his background involves a little bit of finance as well. May I invite to the podium our guest, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, who is an author, an economist, a former federal minister, and a governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. Please join us.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, delegates from the foreign countries, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all thank Asfar for always inviting me to these very eventful gatherings, which are a very learning experience for me. I've been sitting here since the morning, and the insights which I have gained during the discussions and during the speeches was really very, very useful. So I consider this to be, all of us, to be refreshing and completely updating our engine of learning. So I want to thank you for providing me this opportunity. And this particular event, which is Navigating for the Unknown, is very much jiving with what I want to submit. I won't repeat, because my distinguished panelists have aptly said what I had intended, so I would skip that. And I would very much like to start by saying upfront that my remarks this afternoon are clouded by a great deal of turmoil and uncertainty on the global geopolitical and economic scene. Tariff escalation and trade war, accompanied by paralysis of World Trade Organization, the dissolution of US aid, the retreat of US from climate change agenda and WHO, the cut down in official development assistance by UK, Germany, France, and I suspect it's likely to be followed by other EU member countries, have created an atmosphere where the developing countries are striving to find their feet on ground. Climate finance, which was beginning to attract attention and find some traction since Paris Accord for the first time, is at serious risk. It's not obvious to me whether the multilateral financial institutions would be able to adhere to their previous commitments towards accelerated allocation towards climate mitigation and adaptation, because the single largest shareholder is putting its foot down. My fear is that in view of the reduction in overall volume of international financial flows, humanitarian assistance would preempt the bulk of these resources, leaving little for sustainable development goals and even less for climate change. Innovating financing should therefore aim at finding interventions where climate finance and sustainable development are interlinked and codependent. And this is not a very easy task. By now, we know, on the basis of empirical evidence, that there are no trade-offs involved between economic growth and climate risk mitigation and adaptation. And rightly so, as Helen pointed out, firms can reduce emissions without sacrificing profits. This is what the new knowledge about the climate finance is all about. So managing climate change and environmental disasters for developing countries, in my humble opinion, therefore should be scrutinized in the larger context of the present and future challenges facing them. Poverty, inequality, geopolitical tensions, rapid technological advances, and demographics. The question, therefore, is how this positive link can be exploited by developing countries, which are not major emitters, but are highly vulnerable to climate risks, and that includes Pakistan. Reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, adaptation, prevention of environmental hazards, air pollution, and other risks and dislocations should be co-managed with the goals of raising living standards of the poor, marginalized, vulnerable, deprived segments of the society, minimizing gender, income, and regional disparities, increasing opportunities for educational and labor mobility, optimizing water, energy, food nexus by increasing farm productivity, conserving water, and shifting towards renewable energy. Now, I have laid down a huge agenda, but this is where the competence and the vision of the policymakers would come into play. Not only the vision, but the execution of this agenda. If this co-managed strategy is not pursued, I'm afraid we can have cascading impacts that may dampen growth and thus accentuate economic fragility, population displacement, migration, and stalling human capital formation. Response to the climate change must require a serious attention to the needs of the poor, who have less protection against economic upheaval than the rich do. Thus, the cost of adaptation would be easier for the affluent, and therefore safeguards should be built in that these costs are not passed on to those who are unable to bear it. And floods of 2022 illustrate where the intensity of damage to the small holders and the labor class in the farm areas was much greater than that of the zamindars or the big landowners. And that is something which I noticed when I visited those areas. Therefore, to me, carbon tax is one of the instruments where the incidence falls upon the relatively well-to-do classes. Climate finance should therefore be used widely and judiciously to achieve this balance between adaptation, mitigation, resilience, and sustained growth rates that generate productive employment for the youth, alleviate poverty, and invest in human capital formation. Permit me, as Aisha rightly pointed out, we have both capacity limitation